All right, let's see what's happening. I think we have started. Hey, everybody, you are watching Ballerina Badass. My name is Georgia Reed, and it's a Pointe Shoe Party live stream. So, I have to turn that down. Hold on, it did like a double thing, you guys. Hang tight, hang tight, hang tight. Don't go anywhere, don't go anywhere. What is going on with the sound? Why is it repeating back to me? If I put my earphones in, hold on. Okay. If you guys have trouble hearing me, let me know. I can get my tech guy in to take a look at it, because I feel like you can hear a little better when I have my headphones in, but for some reason it's giving me a feedback, and I don't have the energy today to figure it out. Yeah, it's been a busy weekend and a really busy week. As you can see, I'm wearing I stand with the WGA pin. And we'll get into this. I am SAG-AFTRA and pre-WGA. But before we do any of that, first things first, a little bit of housekeeping. Be sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, hit the little dingy bell. Please keep in touch. Let me know where you're at with your dance career. Are you a ballet dancer? Are you a ballet fan? Are you an adult dancer, etc.? All those things, professional, not professional. I'm always curious to hear what my audience is into and where they're coming from. I know if you see me looking up in this direction, it's because I've got the screen up here where I can see the comments coming through, which, yay! Oh, good. I've got a note from my tech guy. Haha, it's my man. That I'm coming through okay with that. That's great. Bridge, you came! Awesome! Bridget Roberts, I love it. I believe this is the same Bridge who was on my live stream earlier with Movie Boy. We're working a cartoon Fanimation mashup over there. Very exciting. And then Katie Fulton, you're here. Oh my gosh, sending my love, Virginia. I'm injured and haven't been watching much ballet lately. It hurts too much emotionally, but I'm so excited to see you and Pointe Shoe Parties. I hope to make it. Guys, Katie, big love to you, because I get it. I dance professionally. I started training in ballet, like, I think the first time I did it, I was at 5. And then I got serious at 9. I got serious at 9 years old because we moved to St. Louis. My parents loved it, and I loved to please my parents. And even though there were many other things I wanted to do, I wanted to act, I wanted to sing, I wanted to play basketball. I loved all kinds of stuff. But ballet was the thing that I could tell my parents were impressed by, because my grandmother wanted my mom to be a ballet dancer, and she hated it. So it was like, am I going to fulfill the dream? Most people, I joke about this, most people are like, oh, my parents always want to be a doctor, a lawyer. It's just so frustrating. And I'm like, yeah, my parents wanted me to be a ballerina, and I did it. You know, sometimes I have some thoughts on that. You're not exactly in the same tax bracket as the doctor and lawyer, but, you know, the frustrations are the same, right? You're living your life for your parents, not for yourself. Anyways, back to my point. But I went pro, then I quit, then I went back again, then I quit. I've been back and forth, and I'll tell you, sometimes it is really hard for me to watch ballet at all. A, because I get really critical. B, I'll get depressed. C, I'll be like, I don't even like this anymore. And then other days I'll be like, oh, I love it, it's great. But in general, if I'm not dancing myself, it's harder for me to watch other people dancing, because it reminds me that I'm not. And that just, it's tough. It's really tough, you know, for many reasons. So Katie, I feel you. I got nothing but love for you. Anyways, Mr. McIntyre is here. Hello. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. All right, so last week's live stream, I would like more coffee. I'm going to text. This is so cheesy. I'm going to text my tech person to bring me some more coffee, because I don't want to leave you guys. Ah! Okay, hang tight. We're getting some stuff done. This is such a fun live stream. You're watching me text. I'm going to be working on my pointe shoes today, you guys. I want to know if you brought your pointe shoes. Are you sewing anything? Or are you sewing something else? Maybe you're knitting. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're also watching something on TikTok while watching me. I've done it. I'll watch 2 things simultaneously. I'm trying to break that habit, because I think there's a lot of distraction, you know? Ooh, what? Yes?
What do you want in your coffee?
Just some cream, please.
You got
And
it.
maybe on ice, because it's really hot.
Well, I don't know what that means.
It means put ice cubes in a cup and you pour the coffee on top.
So is it primarily ice with coffee, or is it primarily coffee
Primarily
with ice?
coffee with ice.
Okay.
I get so girly. So terrible. Okay. Not that being girly is terrible. Just I feel so weird because I'm not usually, I'm a straightforward kind of girl, you know, person, they, them. I am. So, okay. You know what? We're going to leave that alone. F it. We're going to leave all that alone. We're getting to the point shoes. That's what we're here for. So I am sewing up another pair. If you don't know already, we got rats last year. They got into the garage and they chewed through 70 to 80% of my point shoes. Luckily, they didn't get a couple of my new pairs. Maybe they just didn't smell as tasty because they didn't have the sweat in them. I don't know, but bless those little rats' hearts. So one of the things I will be doing as I get back into ballet again, and sometimes, yes, I wonder why. Why am I getting into ballet again? Like, oh my God. I watched a video of myself dancing back in 2016, and I thought I looked awful. But today, I put on that video of me from when I did the Spanish dance, and I really liked my dancing in that. I was like, oh, I like her. Okay, so I need to, like, review that and mix that in with the other one, because the other video, I've got to put it out for you guys, but I'm feeling a little bit depressed and going, no, I think I made the right choice just quitting completely. And now I'm going, I still want to do it. I still want to do it for fun, for the love, for the passion, for, you know, you put your whole heart and soul into something. Like I think about Kevin Kline, who they now call Kevin D. Kline, famous actor. And from what I've heard now, he almost exclusively paints. He's like done with acting. You can still hear his voice on Bob's Burgers. Oh my God, he's Mr. Fish Odor. I'm a huge fan of Kevin Kline's work, but I sometimes wonder if he's like, no, I'm really done. I'm good, you know, or if he ever misses it. These are the things. These are the fun parts of life that you don't know till you go through it. We're going to sew the other shoe today. So here's the shoe from last week that I sewed. Little review. We darned around the edge, right? And then, wow, just feeling so fresh. If I look down, it's like, and up. There we go. Magic. We got the ribbons on, and we did the elastic. Now you'll see, again, as a reminder, the shoes that I'm sewing today, these are Russian point shoes, handmade in Russia. Okay, see that? Right there. All right, I have a really, really effing hard shank in this, but even still, because my feet are so pointy, although I'm learning and as I'm watching back videos, boy, there's so much more I can do to strengthen my feet and strengthen all of my support muscles on my legs and my rotators that I think will take a lot of pressure off the feet. Yes.
Iced coffee for Jorgia?
I do have sometimes people like, Jorgia? Jorgia? I'm like, sure, whatever. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
See if it's good.
Thank you, movie boy. Of course it's good. You made it.
All right. Yay.
He has a natural talent for baking and cooking and doing all kinds of things like that. It's great. Okay, Mariam Abu Baker. Abu Baker. Oh my gosh, hello, Georgia Mariam. Is it Mariam or Mariam? I never know if I'm saying it right. When your next stretch and kvetch video will come up. Oh my God, thank you for asking. You know, I wasn't sure if people were really enjoying those, so I was like, I'll take a break. Plus, I was still, you know, recovering from my hamstring pull, so I was like, I'll put it off. But you know, if you're really liking it, then I'll bring them back. So if that's the case, then you know what? Just for you, Mariam. Just for you, I'll bring it back next weekend, okay? So barring any issues with scheduling, keep an eye out on my channel. I will put up a card with the date and time that will work for me to fit it in, but where then we can all be together and stretch and kvetch about the state of the industry, which, by the way, you guys, let me just say, I am a member of SAG-AFTRA. I think I'm repeating myself. And I am pre-WGA, which means I'm not in WGA yet. Y'all are probably wondering, what the heck is this? What are these letters you're saying? What are these words? SAG? Is something saggy? No. WGA is the Writers Guild of America. Yes.
Your schedule next weekend is taken up with a certain travel obligation.
Yeah, but not Saturday. No, I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah. I like coming in. That's enough, you. All right. Okay. The Writers Guild of America, okay? These are the people who write for, if you're in the guild, right, you're going to be writing for the major television channels, for streamers, for all kinds of things. And as corporations have continued to grow, and as those big streamers like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, all of those, they have been operating on an old model that just isn't working anymore. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty. What you need to do is go find videos about this on YouTube, and TikTok is really great for this. There are some really great creators who are talking more in depth about exactly what's happening. If you follow Adam Ruins Everything, now his channel is, I think, is Adam Conover, right? Go check him out because he gets into the nitty gritty about it. But writers are getting screwed and actors are getting screwed. So first, the writers, when their contract came up, they went on strike because they weren't getting a fair deal from the AMPTP. Again, go to Adam Conover's to get into all of it. But now SAG-AFTRA, which is the union for all the actors, they are on strike. I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA, therefore I am on strike, okay? And I am thrilled to be able to step forward. I have volunteered as a strike captain, and I cannot wait to walk the picket lines with my fellow union members. I've already been walking the picket lines and volunteering to support the WGA, but now I can also, support more directly through my own union. I'm so stoked about it. So if anyone sees the stream or on the stream is going to be striking or anything, you don't have to be a member of the union to come join the picket lines, all right? We've got them in New York. We've got them in Los Angeles, where I am. I think they now have picket lines going on in Atlanta. There might be some in Chicago. There might be some in Boston, wherever. But find out in your local town if there might be one, and show up. Show up for half an hour. Show up for whatever you can do. Pick up a sign, walk around, get to know people, show your support. It all counts. It all matters. It's all so important. I think, this entire country is going through a reckoning, A lot of unions are striking. It's an exciting time. So anyways, that's it. Okay, so Bridge. It is Bridge. Yes, hi Bridge. Back to the shoes. All right, so what else did I want to say? I've got the hard shank. It's got a medium hard box, but this will quickly break down. You'll see it's got a smaller, toe tip. I don't remember the fancy terms. I'll own it. I used to know the fancy terms, and when you go away for 4 or 5 years, sometimes you forget. Or maybe I want to forget. I don't know. But anyways, the vamp is a bit higher, a little bit higher, but not too high. But I don't know if this is my best shoe. I really would love to get an appointment with the Pointe Shoe fitter, the Pointe Shoe shop. I forget her name, but she's amazing, and I think she's done it with some other high-profile dancers. So I would love to do that with her. I don't know if she's in San Diego or San Francisco, or if she's even out here, and I don't know what she charged. So, and I still would really like to try the new Gainer Mindens. Although now I've heard that the original Gainer Minden factory shut down, and then they're doing it somewhere else, and the shoes aren't the same, and they're not as good, and everything's in flux at all times, people, So we do what we can with what we have, and right now what we have is this pair of shoes right here that we already own. So we are going to put them on and try to get our pointe shoes back in shape. And you guys go, oh, well, why, Georgia? Do you want to dance on pointe again? And I go, I don't know. I do miss jumping. I do miss partnering. I don't know. My body, when I do class, when I say I do class, what I mean is if I go to my ballet bar in my garage studio, what I've noticed is it's taken a few months. It's starting to be okay with me giving myself a ballet bar, but the only way I can describe it is it's like my nerve endings are frayed. And when they sense me getting more into ballet, it's like the nerves in my body I can hear them. They're like, no, we don't want to do this again. We are tired of this. We want to do something else. So I'm trying to talk with them, to listen to them, actually. Listen to my nerves. They sound weird and frou-frou, but that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to the nerves in my body, and they're saying, if you want to dance again, Georgia, we've got to take a new approach. And so that's going to mean coming at it from a different angle. Instead of just back to ballet class every day, it's like body work, Pilates, gyrotonics maybe, Franklin method, Alexander method, Feldenkrais method, pretty much everything but not ballet. And it's interesting, whenever I've done that, I may repeat this in every video I make, but whenever I've done all the things around ballet, it makes my ballet better versus just ballet, just ballet. Then my body goes into this like kind of thing, and it gets worn out. So I'm thinking about it. I'm scared to do it. That's what I'm admitting. I'm scared to do it, so I'm procrastinating. There you go. Now you have the truth, people. Okay. Mm, mm. This coffee, that's magical. Okay. Mm. This is Costco's French roast. A little bit of half and half from Kroger's, Ralph's. If you know, I think Kroger owns Ralph's. So here's the shoe. We've done one. You'll also notice on these shoes, we've got a nice elastic drawstring, all right? And people feel differently. I've had shoes with the plain drawstring, some with no drawstring, some with elastic. And I think it's good to have, for me personally, I do like the elastic, and you can leave a little bit more tie left out, a little bit, not too much, because you don't want, like you'll see in the previous video, anything that rubs against your foot. The first few times you're like, ah, it's not that bad. But kind of like hiking, a tiny little rub starts out as like a minor annoyance. A couple hours in rehearsal, a little bit longer, it feels like a knife is digging through your foot, and you're gonna die. It's just terrible. It's like a paper cut. You're like, really? And then you're like, this paper cut's driving me crazy. So whenever you're sewing your pointe shoes, you want to keep in mind, you want as few things that are sticking out or, left untied down that will rub and exacerbate any kind of blisters on your skin. That being said, I like an elastic drawstring because as you're dancing, some days your foot might be a little more swollen than others. That's something that you will then be able to loosen or tighten the drawstring. Also, as the shoe breaks down, it's going to spread and change, right? And so that's, again, to make your shoes last, you may need to tighten or loosen the drawstring. There's all these different things, so you want to be able to change this, So we'll see. Bridge, I saw you almost put a note and then you retracted it. I like these retracted messages. Everyone's going, hey, delete. It's okay. All right, little butterflies, take your time. Leave whatever message you want. Okay. Now you'll notice something else interesting. So this is the right side, because for me, my 2 feet are so different. My left foot is bigger than my right. And my left foot is even pointier than my right foot. Therefore, I can't switch my pointe shoes back and forth. Once I've decided which shoe feels the best on which foot, I keep it that way. But especially when they're new, I like to name them. I do right and left. And you'll see then I make a little sign, like maybe you can put numbers. You can put R1, L1, R2, L2. But that way that I keep them together so that if I'm digging through my bag and I've got a couple pairs, I don't get them mixed up. That's not to say you can't mix and match. You mix and match all you want, but I like to know who started with who in the beginning. That's why I do that. Something interesting also here, I think you can see, it looks like one piece of ribbon is longer than the other. And you're like, why is that, Georgia? Because see, we're starting up here, we're coming all the way down here. That is because when I first do the shoe, I wrap it around my ankle and I finish the wrap on the inside of my ankle where I'm going to tie the ribbons together and then tuck them in. And because of that, one of the ribbons has to go further around, and so it's a little bit longer. So for me, I recommend when you get your brand new ribbons, you sew them on first. Don't cut them immediately down to like the shortest amount possible. Leave them long, then you wrap them around and tie them. And then you can trim them a little bit, all right? Because you want to trim it enough that you can tuck it in so that you don't have a big wad of ribbon there. But you don't want to cut it so short that you're struggling to tie a knot that could either come undone or you're putting too much, it's too tight around your ankle, which can exacerbate things like tendonitis and things like that. I'll show you that whole process when we get through this second shoe, because that's my goal today, to sew the second shoe, people. Let's do it. Okay, so Bridge says, I have Uphone and TV. I don't know what that means. You have an iPhone and a TV? Are you watching on both? Okay, you're watching both things at once. I dig it. I support it. It's really hot here today. I'm feeling a bit moist. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. So, I've got all kinds of accoutrements around here. Let's go through the usual suspects of what we need for today's Pointe Shoe Party. I want a little music. I do. I know, it's like, really? Again with that music? It's like, yeah, but I like it. Maybe a lo-fi chill beats. See if I can push through, though. Oh, we've got a really annoying ad. Man, you have to be careful what you even say you like. They'll be like, oh, you like this? Then we're going to give you 500 more things of the same thing. And the same person. You're like, no, I don't want all that. I just want to say that I like this one video. Here's a little something. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear it, and that makes me happy. So we have our ribbons. Now, usually they'll just give you one long ribbon and you cut it into 4 sections. That's what you start with. And I have already taken the ends of these ribbons, and I use a lighter, right? And you hold the lighter. You don't want to put it, you just put it just underneath, and you can melt those ends so that they don't fray. Don't want frayed ribbons. It's the worst. All right, so we got those 2 ready. I have my piece of elastic ready, and it's all ready to size. They do tend to be the same for me now. I will say, this shoe was a little tight when I put it on last week. Is this long enough here? Oh, this may not even be long enough, is it? Ooh, hold on, guys. Hold on, we're doing a double check. Want to be careful. If your elastic is too short, it really is uncomfortable. I'm just saying. I'm kind of matching it here. No, it's just long enough. It's going to be right on the edge. Let's do a test. Last week, my right foot was a bit swollen. I'm going to use, again, I do have those other Pointe Shoe toe filler things. Boy, the Perfect Point ones, I love them, but I shaped them on a different style shoe. I personally think you would want to have a different set of perfect points, perfect fits, depending on what the style of shoe you have. Most of us, of course, only get one style of shoe, and Georgia's been testing out different kinds, so once again, Georgia's not playing by the rules. Bad, Georgia. Okay, I'm going to just use a little lamb's wool pre-made footy filly thing. Put it on. Let's see if my foot is still a little bit swollen this week. Ooh, my hip's not happy, I'll tell you that. My hip's like, what are we doing? I'm sorry. You see all my books in the background? We have lots of books. Okay. Are you going to go in there? Yeah, the foot is still a little bit. It's a little tight, you guys. It may be time for me just to get a whole new shoe fit again. I mean, everything changes. Okay, it's on. I might go with a different elastic on my other foot because this is really tight. I don't know. Okay, let me just show you. So I've got the right shoe on. All right, let's get it out of the way so you can see. So the right shoe is on. There it is. There it is. And now I'm gonna wrap my ribbons. You'll see for me, I like to tie my ribbon right where my arch is. That's where mine is. Okay. So I'm bringing this back one. It's funny, it's the inside ribbon that's longer, funny enough, but you're gonna wrap it around. I have not shaved, deal with it. Okay, so wrap, I do a little bit, a gentle flex here, because again, you need enough room to breathe. You don't wanna tie them so tight you can't flex your foot, right? Now, but look, see, I tie them on the inside. Now, they're the same length, believe it or not, because I've already trimmed them. Last time. So there we go. It's ready to tuck in. You fold them up. And let's get you tucked in. Night, night, ribbons. Night, night, sleep tight. Bridge, it's great that you're here. I appreciate it. Okay, so now they're all tucked in, right? I can still flex my foot. These shoes, again, I have not done any dancing on these shoes yet. I just feel it's a little tight for my taste on that heel. I don't love that. Maybe if I had tights on, it'd feel a little bit different because this is right up against my skin. Yep. I think I'm going to get a different piece of elastic for my left foot because my left foot is bigger, remember? It may need a little more room. And yeah, this is just not happy. See, this is what you need to test, you guys. Sometimes what you can do also, if you're feeling that already the elastic, the way you've sewn it, is kind of rubbing against your heel, you can take some moleskin, right? Because it's sticky on one side so that you can stick it. Instead, you could maybe stick it over the elastic area so that then when you put the shoe on, the moleskin's nice and soft up against your ankle. But then the problem is if you're constantly doing releve and plie and dancing, you don't want that piece of moleskin to move and bunch up and turn into another problem, right? So, you gotta think about all those things. You know what, let's give it a little stand. Let's give it a little stand. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh, here we go. Okay. What do you think? I mean, my problem is never about, oh, your foot looks pretty here, but like, that doesn't mean that they're gonna be a good shoe for dancing. You look at all those dancers, you look at all the models in those dance magazines. And they look pretty. Just kind of like with Instagram and social media, there's a lot of dancers who look really pretty in photos. We can all pose and you can catch a dancer in a moment, but that doesn't necessarily tell you if they can, how they dance. Do they flow when they dance? All right, so, oh wow, it has been a minute, you guys. So here's what I'm noticing. I've got a little bit of give here. All right, a little bunching. I don't know about that. I feel like I'm sinking in the shoe just a little bit. Again, though, that could be because I'm just so darn out of shape, and my rotators are just gone. I used to have like a really defined situation here, and my legs were 2/3 of this size. You know, when you have, whatever, I was a lot skinnier, but that doesn't mean I was a better dancer. But it does mean, you stand differently on your shoes if you don't have that rotation to help support you. You know what I could use? Okay, let's see what this works. If I just use the chair to kind of stand on. There we go. Okay, how's that feeling? Oh, that feels good. Okay, there it is. Now it feels solid. There, I just needed that little bit of support. Yeah. Yep. Oh, I can feel it though. It's just that my dance muscles have atrophied, you guys. It's so funny. If you are getting back into ballet, it's not like riding a bike. You can't just jump back on and sort of trick your way through it. There's certain muscles that you need to develop. If you remember, if you took ballet when you were 8 or 9, and I first put on my pointe shoes at 9 years old, you are at the bar for months before they even think about maybe bringing you into the center for a few exercises. And you're doing lots of releves with the bar to help develop the muscles you need to lift and hold and work around these pointe shoes. Pointe shoes are not supposed to do all the work, but they are designed. Here's the thing, people say, oh, all your weight's on your toes. No, actually, a well-designed pointe shoe, the weight actually is distributed right here. It goes down right here through the ankle, behind the toes. It's really interesting, and there's a whole science to it. But even with that, it's still, like just then I stood up on my pointe and I just felt it. My foot's like, what are we doing? Like all the muscles in my feet, they are out of shape. And it's okay. It's just please, if you're going to return to ballet or if you're just starting, even as an adult, I know we all want to just go to the center and be a swan. Oh, yes. Do yourself and your body a favor. Start at the bar. Start slow. Build it up slowly with those exercises. It's okay. It's gonna be so worth it in the long run. Okay, trust me on that. All right, Bridge, what are you talking about? My school had a ballet team. I was never on it, but they stopped doing it because a girl got hurt. Yeah, this is a secret. Like, my fave. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Bridge. We'll keep that between us. I love it. Okay, so there's the deal with shoe number 1. Let's get into shoe number 2. My goal is I'm not going to end this live stream until I finish the second shoe. I will put them both on for you guys, even though I'm not warmed up. I won't be doing any fancy dancing. I'll just show you how they look. Coffee. Oh, and it's iced coffee. It's so good, you guys. It's so good. So, you're a little loud for my taste. You go quiet. Okay, so since this piece of elastic, I'm concerned it's going to be a bit short. I'm going to go into my little stash. If you know from my previous pointe shoe parties, I save everything unless it's really worn out. Look, if you're in a company and they're constantly giving you new ribbons and new elastics and you feel confident that you're not going to lose your contract next year, you don't need to worry about this. But for the rest of us, I save. What do they call that? You harvest your elastics and your ribbons from your dead shoes, and then you reuse them on your new shoes, okay? And I could do a whole video just about that. But so this is my little stash of leftovers, and I'll dig through. So here's a nice piece of, this is a nice clean piece of elastic. I don't even know if this has ever been used. Does it match the other one? It does. Oh, that's nice, but I'm going to make it a bit longer. So, you know what? I'm not even going to pre-cut it. So you can see this is the piece I was going to use. Here's the new piece I'm going to do instead. I'm not going to cut it yet. I'm going to just sew one side. Should I start with that or should I start with the... I should start with the darning, you guys. I'm going to rethinking. We're going to start with the darning because that way I'm not getting anything else sort of caught up in there. Let's get it done. Sometimes I get so like over darning. Darn, I don't want to darn. Okay, if you're wondering what darning is, darning, that's where you're, stitching around the edge of the point shoe. You can see that in there. There, it's a little bit easier if I get the light out of the way. What does this do, Georgia? What does this do, Georgia? That's what you're all, I'm sure, wondering right now. So, again, on the one hand, it can help your shoes last a little longer, right? Because it will protect the satin. If I had an old pair, if the rats hadn't chewed them all up, you'd be able to see. Even with this pair was just gently used. You can just immediately see the satin will wear out and it will tear and then it will just wear away. And then you'll have, the canvas underneath it. But every layer you lose, it's a little bit more strength. And so that's a good thing about it, is that it can help the shoe last longer, but also it can create a really nice platform. Because again, with my feet, they always tend to want to lean in or lean out. That's not good technique on my part, but this does help encourage my foot to stay straight up. So it helps. It's like a guidepost, kind of like the training wheels. Do you know what I mean? But I've seen like Joy Womack. She has a whole routine. She does like this thing. She puts this entire thing on top of her shoe and stitches it on. It's crazy. I love it. Go check out her videos. Joy Womack, Joy Womack, Womack. She's the first American ballet dancer who went and trained in Russia, I think. Now like a bunch of dancers do it, but I think she was one of the first. It was a big deal. And everybody has oh no, actually so-and-so did it before them. Oh no, actually so-and-so did it before them. But I really like her stuff. I've gotten to take class with her in class with me. It's been amazing. Like she's gorgeous. Her dancing is beautiful. So, darning. This is the thread I use. It's like this thick, I think it's like kite string. Maybe I'm wrong. You'll need to find the string that works for you. It's definitely not your usual sewing thread, okay? It's not twine, but it's almost. And I don't know, I think I might want to start playing with some other kinds. Again, I think I've had this roll forever. I mean, definitely, probably since Cincinnati Ballet 20 years ago. I don't know. But it was a lot bigger, obviously. So maybe I should start playing with more. Not today. Today we're going to just get these things done. So we take the thread. I always like to go out to the end of my arm, against my chest, okay, because I'm going to double it up. Skizzers. Where are my skizzers? Scissors, skizzers. Okay. Boom. Here we go. Let me see here. What else have we got? We got some comments. What's your favorite sport besides ballet? Okay, well, first of all, we can have a whole argument over whether ballet is a sport or not. It has elements of sport, but in my opinion, it is not a sport. That's what gymnastics is. That's a sport because ballet, and I'm talking about professional ballet and companies, real ballet, not that competition ballet stuff. And you can say I'm being a snob and poo-pooing, and yeah, I am a little bit because of reasons that I won't get into right now. We can have a whole discussion later. And there's good things about competition ballet too. There are good things about it. But for me, ballet, it is an art. It has elements of sport because there's a lot of athleticism. And there can be, things you can measure, like you can measure the height of their leg or measure how many turns they're doing. But when you go to the ballet, you're not there to bet on whether or not the Swan Queen is going to do 6 or 10 turns. Although I'm sure it'd be interesting. Wouldn't it be interesting if we could create a whole betting system around ballet? Yes, tonight in the bottom of the third act, I got odds on the Black Swan doing full 64 fortes with doubles. And, oh my god, it'd be insane. I'm gonna have to do that. That's my idea. It's my idea. I thought of it first. Ha ha ha. Okay. Anyways, sports that I like, though, separate from my passion for ballet, the art form, I like playing sports more than I like watching sports. So to play, I grew up playing basketball. I loved playing pickup ball at recess with all the guys. That was so much fun. And some girls were starting to get into it. But, back in my day, it was still like, girls go over here, boys go over there. And I hated it. I loved track. Track and field was my jam. Got all kinds of first place. In middle school, I set the record for the high jump. I got first place in long jump, first place in standing jump, first place in high jump. I did the relay race. I was really good at sprinting. And then I also played volleyball. Love volleyball. Yeah, volleyball, kickball, and track were my favorite. But then I do also like playing baseball. Softball is way harder. I grew up with the overhand throw. The underhand throw is really hard for me. So all the softball players, they are kick ass and amazing, and it is terrifying. I do also enjoy playing football. A lot of fun. Anyways, I love playing sports, but watching sports, if I'm at the game, like if I'm at a football game, that's pretty fun because you're involved. You're there, you're involved. You feel like you're a part of it. Just sitting watching it on TV, it's not as much my jam. So, notice here I'm doubling the thread, and then I'm tying the knot at the end. All right, so we're gonna do that. What do we got? Is that coffee or chocolate milk? Oh, it's coffee. It's definitely coffee. We gotta stay awake here. You play basketball. That's awesome. What position do you play? I played. I wasn't the forward. I was one of the two people who stood nearest to the basket. We did like the 5-person setup, right? So you had your main middle person, then you had the 2 right next to them, and then you had the 2 by the basketball net. I was one of the 2 by the basketball net. And yes, you know when I knew I had to stop playing sports was when I was in high school and I was trying to not only do after-school sports team, I'd made it onto the basketball team, I was juggling that with ballet and modern and jazz classes and rehearsals. I was trying to do all of it, plus I was doing Model UN, plus I was trying to do choir and band and musical theater, and the problem is there's just not enough time in the day. And I didn't know I had ADHD back then, but I was into all of it. I played oboe, all those things. So, but I knew it was time to stop when, because I didn't have as much time to focus on my basketball trainings, meetups, I will never forget it. We had a match at another school, and I got turned around, and I actually threw the ball at the opposite team's net. I don't know if I got it in or not, but regardless, I was throwing it in the wrong direction. And I just remember thinking, I do not have enough time to put in the training necessary to give basketball what it needs and keep up with everything else. And I had to make a choice. And, since I had a dad who said women playing basketball are boring, I'm like, I'm going to go with ballet because he approves of me doing that. And it's a really crappy reason. But I was a people pleaser, and I was definitely daddy's girl, and I loved him. I'm not saying he's a terrible guy on all fronts, but it's really confusing when your parent tells you, like when your dad tells you, right, in this case, you can be anything you want to be. But also, women will never be good at sports, and also women can never serve. And you're like, wait, so which is it? I can be anything I want to be, or anything you think I should be. Just curious. Let's put that in your book. All right, here we are, getting back to this. Wait, what am I doing? Wow, guys, more coffee. I was about to start sewing the elastic onto the shoe. Not gonna lie, it has been a busy week. Doing the striking, picketing, seeing friends. There's birthdays this weekend. There was all kinds of things. I'm going to have to take a couple of days just to get stuff done for myself, or I will never get it done. That's life. It's always about finding the balance. So, here we are. Here we are, once again. But this time, we're sewing in. Okay, here's the shoe. Some people like to cut this bit of satin off and then do darning. I don't like to do that. I feel like the way I do it, I just darn it right in. That's me, okay? Again, if I had hundreds of shoes to spare, maybe I would try other stuff. I could experiment more, but that would be a whole crowdfunding campaign. I've done that before. It's really difficult, and we don't need to do that. So, I like to start at the bottom of the shoe. You can go back for more details on my process for darning in my last live stream video, Pointe Shoe Party, which I think should be there, right there on my channel. So I'm just going to get into it here. I'm going to check the messages as they come through. I'm going to keep darning, and then let's see what we get done. In the meantime, you play a different sport every year, so you don't know yet. Okay. I get it. No, you're trying stuff out. That's awesome. I'm telling you, man. Gotta try stuff out. There we go. There you are. Put you in. I'm gonna do one right next to it. Yes. so hot today, you guys. Oh my gosh. Do I like that or do I not? Not. There's kind of a big knot here as I'm getting it started, and I'm wondering if it's going to be a problem. I don't think so, because again, this is my left foot. So if it's on my left foot, that means I'm going to lean a little bit more this way, and the knot is over here, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. Again, I like to go down to up, and then I come back around to make sort of a crisscross X sort of look here. There we go. So you guys, I'm interested to see which actors are going to show up on these picket lines. And it's like, oh, celebrity sightings. It's not so much that as it's just who's in solidarity with us, you know? Which of the more famous actors are going to show up to support, you know what I mean? So I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful that there'll be a really good turnout. There was on the first day. Oh my gosh. So many actors showed up, you guys. It was amazing. I know I'm talking a little low, but Bridge, you're saying you think basketball has your heart? I dig that. I dig that. You play a different spot every year. I just caught on. Wow, are you watching me not catch on? Isn't that great? I was like, oh, she plays a different sport every year. No, you're playing a different position every year. I get it. Yep. So you're still figuring it out. Again, that also is cool. I think you should try each position out to kind of figure out which one suits you, right? Yeah, I love basketball. I think it's fun. It's fast, you know? It took me a while to get into soccer, or football, as everyone else calls it. I definitely was one of those people who was like, oh, there's like 3 goals the whole game. Womp womp. And hockey, ice hockey's that way too, but at least, you know, they're beating each other to a pulp. It really is just who are you raised with? My dad didn't like soccer, football, so I didn't like it because I love my dad and I want to be like my dad, so I just assumed. It's like, good lord, how about you question authority once in a while? But I will admit, I watched Ted Lasso and I was like, oh, this is pretty great, so maybe I need to give it another shot. So silly. All right, let's see, how are we doing here? For anyone else who's here watching, if you haven't made a comment yet, please pop one in. I'd love to know where you are at in the world. We don't need personal addresses, just, you know, like, hey, I'm in Australia. Hey, I am in America, whatever. I'm always interested to know. And look, I can look at my stats after the video is done and kind of, you know, get an idea. But it's fun to hear where people are from. And one thing you like about the town you're in, something you're proud of. I'd like that. I'd like to hear about that. That would be nice. I am currently living in Los Angeles, and one thing I like about Los Angeles is, yeah, the sunsets. I like the sunsets out here. I've heard that nothing beats sunset in Italy, but what do I know? I haven't been there yet. I like them here. Yeah. I have a lot of really good friends here, too. I feel very lucky for that. But I've lived in a lot of different places, and there's good things about pretty much all of them. Most of all, it's pretty much always the friends, though. So interesting. Okay, again, as you're stitching, the thread will get twisted, and you gotta kind of untwist it. You can see how far I am so far, kind of what it's looking like. If you can see those X's. All right. So again, I've already gone, so it's a little hard to tell, but I've gone down to up, and I'm going to come back around. I kind of hook into the last stitch, and then I do a diagonal. So I go straight up, and then I come back around and go diagonal. Then I come straight up, and then I go back diagonal, and it creates this crisscross. I don't even remember who I learned it from. I wonder who I learned it from, or if I just made it my own. Because my mom was a seamstress. She sewed incredible garments. Beautiful stuff. So maybe she gave me a tip. I don't know. That'd be interesting. So I can look through my journals and see if there's anything in there. I journaled a lot, you guys. Oh my gosh. Only recently have I sort of taken a break from journaling, only because I'm writing so much now, all the time. I'm either writing for my stand-up routines, or I'm working on my screenplay, or, you know, ideas for blog posts as I'm getting those together. there's a lot of different stuff I'm writing now, and it's like, okay, well, I should still do my morning pages because it's a great way to, just a great way to sort of get blah out of your head in the morning, clear your mind, any kind of concerns or things like that. I like it. And yes, I did learn it from The Artist's Way, which I have that book. If you haven't read The Artist's Way, it's a great tool for developing your creativity. I love it. There's certain books that I just go back and reread every several years. It's interesting. My books that I tend to go back and reread include Artist's Way, The War of Art, which is not The Art of War, although The Art of War is really good, but The War of Art is another creativity book. Think and Grow Rich, The Shining. I'll admit it, Harry Potter books, I'm not pleased. I do not support what J.K. Rowling is doing, and the way that she is hurting the trans community. So I am not purchasing any new content of hers, but I do still have all the Harry Potter books that, you know, were my parents, and we all read them together, so they have a personal meaning, and if I'm ever feeling sad, they give me kind of a warm Christmassy feeling, you know, so I do go back and read them. I like that. What else do I go back and reread a lot? Nancy Drew books, I like those, yeah. Yes, there's comfort reading, and then there's, you know, just reminders, inspirational reading, that kind of thing. So, yeah. All right, we are getting close. No, totally close. We're about 2/3 the way through the darning. Again, I'm talking a lot, or else this would be going much faster. There we go. Sewing point shoes can be very zen. At other times, you know, when you already have blisters on your feet, and then you gotta get more blisters on your hands from all the sewing you've done, and sometimes it's just like, I don't want to sew anymore. But, you know, part of your chores, part of your daily chores, you gotta do the dishes, you gotta feed the cats, you gotta take out the trash, and you gotta sew your point shoes. That's just the way it is. I've heard of people who will, like, hire other people to sew their shoes for them and stuff. I guess if you have someone who really does it just the way you like it, I could see that. But on the other hand, I feel like you have to kind of earn that, right? You know, like, starting out, you need to learn how to do your own hair in a bun. You need to learn how to do your own makeup. You need to learn how to do your own shoes. You know, once you get up to that prima ballerina status, maybe then, right? Because you're so busy with all the other stuff that you're doing as the face of a company. I have a question, quick question. When you said you had butterflies in your kids' room, kids like in your cats or kids? Haha, great question. Stepkids. Stepkids, they are both grown and moved out, and they are awesome. They are awesome people. I feel really, really lucky to have gotten to know them and spend time with them. But we do also have fur babies. We have 2 cats. And they are still here, obviously. They're not here in this room right now. They're off doing cat things, but yeah, love those fur babies. Okay, so my hands are getting a little sweaty, and I have noticed that does make it harder to pull the needle through. Sometimes it's good to keep a pair of, like, needle nose pliers in your kit, so that if, for instance, if your fingers get tired or worn out, you can pull with the needle nose pliers. You just have to be careful, because if you pull the wrong way, you can snap this needle really easily, and then you've got to figure out how to get that all worked out, which I have done before. I know I've done other videos about it. I just don't want to have to go through explaining it today. So that's for another day to re-explain. Do you still feel a little pain in your ankle during the stretch? Oh, Miriam, no, I don't. My ankle is great. Actually, now my ankle has this weird, it's kind of almost like an itch you can't scratch. Now my ankle wants to be stretched. It's like, it's healed, and it really wants to kind of get moving again. So, yeah, the ankle is feeling fantastic. Thank you for asking. Very, very good. Okay, come on, good. And less sweaty, you get off me. Sometimes I have to remind myself, like, it's been interesting lately. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I'll be standing like in a group of people and a thought will come to me like, I wish I could sit down. And I'll be like, oh, but you shouldn't. You know, you don't want to interrupt. Or like some ridiculous excuse comes into my head. And then I just stop and I go, Georgia, if you want to sit, sit. And then I go, okay, I'll sit. And I pull the chair out and I sit. And it seems so silly, but like it's amazing how anxiety will just pop in and overthink everything. And you're going, my God, you call yourself an actor? But that's actually the trick. As an actor, for me, any choice I make, that's the character I'm playing. It's been researched. It's intentional. Like, you know, I've done all the research behind the line that I'm saying. What are the obstacles? What are my objectives? Where am I? What's the setting? All of these things. And then, you know, you don't necessarily, like, if you can do a few little different choices depending on if you're doing a play and like, okay, you have to be at this chair or at this cross. Yeah, but then maybe some nights you're going to file your nails and another night you might scratch your leg. Depending. Like, there's certain things that you can play with. I think it's a little less with TV and film. You're putting all that into your facial reaction, just sometimes even the light in your eyes, not even, you don't want to do lots of faces, because on TV, when you're really close up, if you're doing all this, it can be a bit distracting. You'll notice with film and TV acting, everything stays pretty calm and quiet, but you feel the energy in the actor shift. And that's where they're putting those choices, right? And a little bit more in that, their eyes, and just, it's a change in the way you feel. The camera catches all of that. It's fabulous, but you can't do as much there. However, I think that's part of what helps in those moments when I'm feeling anxious is like, this is what I have, not an urge, what's that word? Impetus. There's something, it's like, your body says, I want to do this in this moment, and you pay attention to that, and you act on it in that moment. Yeah, we're having a ramble sesh today. Whoop, whoop. I've got to get my eyes checked, you guys. All right. Yep. Am I going to make it? Sometimes I run out of thread. I think I'm going to have just enough here, which is good. I usually, I told you about measuring. There we go. Someone's coming in. Aha! Movie boy! You're almost done with darning the second shoe! Oh darn! Dude, I'm still so tired. Like, I can feel it. I'm like, I'm going back to sleep. Actually, I'm not going back to sleep. I'm gonna, I don't know, do something. Okay. A lot to do. A lot to get done, people, here. All right, we are at the end of the rainbow. We are going to tie the knot, get it done. Again, you want something that's not going to come unraveled, people. Sometimes that means you might take a little bit of clear nail polish and just gently brush it over the knot you've made, or you can burn the end. You just want this to stay tied. That's the goal. That is the ultimate goal. Get one more. One more knot. There. Okay. So, shoe is done. Now I just gotta trim the thread so that the needle is done. Boop. Immediately take your needle, put it back in a safe place. For me, for this one, I put it right back into the thread so that I know it's the needle to use. There we are. Again, there we go. Opposites. You can see that. Is that good? Is that good? Now the elastic, people. Boom. More coffee. Quick. Oh my gosh. That's so good. Wait, Bridge says, but then the ADHD pop up for me. Yeah, I do the 100 thing at 1, or I don't want to do anything at all. It's so true, right? I want to do everything, because everything's interesting. People say it's like, it's not that you don't have an ability to focus, because you're like, oh, they're just scatterbrained, but it's that you're focusing on everything, and you're like, how do I fit all 10 of these things in to the next 10 minutes before I have to go to this party? It's like, I can get the dishes done and do my makeup and water the plants and feed the cats. I can get it all in. It's like, no. You probably maybe can put some mascara on, and go. That's about it, you know, depending on how you do your mascara. And things interest me. I'm naturally curious. I was raised, look, I was raised to be polite in a way, well, I don't know if you would call this polite now, but the way I was raised was when you meet someone new, you ask them questions about them. You get them to talk about themselves. You don't just sit there and talk about yourself. That was, at least with my family, that was believed to be rude. Now, on the far other side of that spectrum means that it's really hard for me to talk about myself at all. I know you're like, well, you're on this live stream. Yeah, but I'm not in the room with you guys. Whenever people ask me about me, I get to this moment where I'm like, I've been talking about myself for about 30 seconds. This is already too long. Let's change the subject. But what about you? You know, so it's interesting. I love talking and listening to other people talk about what they're passionate about. As long as they're passionate about it. If you're passionate about plumbing, I'm here for it. If you're not, if you're like, yeah, I'm going to get bored too. But other than that, I love listening to other people talk about what they are into. What do we got here? Oh, Mr. McIntyre thinks I'm a good singer. Thanks, man. I think I am too. I enjoy it. I'll put it that way. You know, there's always someone who's going to be better. There's probably many, many people who are better. There might be other people who are worse. But I love singing. Love it. I'm a big yacht rock singer and funk and soul singer and jazz. I love that stuff. I do love musical theater as well. It's fun. It's all so much fun. What else? Oh, Pedro Rodriguez. Pedro Rodriguez Sanchez. Hi. Oh my gosh. How are you doing? Can I speak about my bunions? And my difficulties? Yes. I just need to know, like, look, I am laying this out flat out. If you are a bunion fan, I'm not interested, right? I found out, like, apparently some of my videos are in people's playlists who are in, like, have foot fetishes. I'm not interested, all right? But as far as, I'll just say this, as far as my bunions go, they still are at a point where they're manageable. They don't hurt too much. So I'm not going to get the surgery necessarily anytime immediately soon, but I think eventually I should. I do. Just for the overall health of my feet and all that. I think I am going to get, they have some new foot correctors that can help sort of realign your feet that look a little bit better than the ones I used to use. So I'm looking into that. But that's the extent of what I'm going to talk about with that. Unless you have things like, hey, can you wear heels and things like that? Well, I used to wear, like, stilettos a lot. Now, only when I'm in a certain mood, because, again, I just tend more towards, like, boots and sneakers and stuff like that. They're just more my style now, and they are more comfortable. So when I'm doing my stand-up comedy, I do prefer to be standing in a shoe in which I feel really confident. It has a nice platform, a big, strong platform, and that way I'm not worried about losing my balance on stage or slipping. I'm more thinking about, you know, if I want to do, like, a kick punch, and I do. I kick my leg out a lot. I'm noticing it's kind of a theme in my stand-up shows. I'm like, da-da-da, pow! And I've started doing a lot of kicks on the picket lines. Whenever people honk, I'm always like, honk, honk, give me a honk, honk. And if they honk, I'll go, yeah! And then I'll do like a Lucille Ball, like, yeah! Like a dorky, hunched over kick back instead of like no fancy, you know, again, because I'm trying to watch my hamstrings. They seem to really like that. And then they honk more. And that's what we want. You go, why do you want the honking, Georgia? Well, one, it motivates the picketers, but two, it really, really ticks off all of the production company owners, you know, because it really messes with whatever it is they're doing in their offices, ignoring our needs and not giving us a fair deal. So that's why it's important if you're driving past one of those movie lots or TV set lots, and you see actors and writers with their picket signs, honk your bloody horns off, okay? That's my recommendation to you. All right, as you can see, I am working on the elastic now. We've moved on. Again, as a reminder, one, for me, I like to sew my elastic on either side of this, this sort of, what would you call that? There's this extra section of satin back here. It's like this line of satin. So I stitch my elastic on either side of it. That way it's not directly on the back of my heel where I can get tendonitis, but it's not too far to the side either, because if it's too far to the side, then my heel can slip off. So I want to keep the heel of the shoe on, okay? Without applying too much pressure to the back of my ankle. And also I'm being very mindful. You'll see I do not want to sew through the drawstring. You just want to stitch just around it, okay? That way you can still tighten and release your drawstring as needed. Yeah. Bridge, I'm with you. I'm not into feet. I think they are disgusting. They're necessary, and I get that, but not my jam. Not into it. Okay, here we go. I'm using a waxed thread, a waxed dental floss, right? This is just the Kroger brand. I am not an affiliate for them. I'm just saying, waxed thread. I've talked about this in previous videos. It goes through really fast, really easy. It doesn't get tangled as easily as regular sewing thread when you're trying to get this done fast and furious like I am. And it comes out a lot more easily when you are, as I said earlier, harvesting your ribbons and elastic to reuse on other shoes. So, this is my recommendation pour vous. Alright. Is anybody else learning a new language? I learned Spanish in school, and I can converse in it so. I'd say over the years, again, because I'm not speaking it all the time 24/7, you lose some. So I think I'm at a decent intermediate conversational level I can get by. But I'm now teaching myself French through Duolingo. So I guess Duolingo is teaching me French, and I love it. I love Spanish too. I just love learning languages. Yeah, for many reasons. I just think it's satisfying. It's also just, I think, polite to learn other people's languages because it means you want to try and understand where they're coming from, maybe too. You'll get the joke better. There's just certain jokes I've noticed. Certain jokes just don't translate outside of the language in which they were created. It's a very interesting thing. And it's all quite fascinating. There we are. Thank you all so much for being here. If you haven't already tapped the like, please do. And subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. Yep. Alright, let's get this sucker almost done. Maybe I should, yeah, you know what, we're going to do just fine. Just kind of pull down the fort. I try not to go all the way through the satin. And you're like, why? And I'm like, oh, because that's how I like to do it. You can't see that from the audience, so it's not that big a deal, especially because in this case, you want to have thread that's going to blend with the satin of your shoe. But, tiny bits of thread they're not going to see. Still, being the perfectionist controlling person that I am, I try to make it as clean and beautiful as possible. It's aesthetically pleasing. It is also less stuff rubbing on my skin. Ow, stop that. There we go. Okay, here we go. One side of my elastic is now done. I'll let you guys see. On the outside, here's what it looks like on the outside. You can see these stitches here, but you don't necessarily see stitches down there. If I turn it inside out, you can see. There we go. Stitch along the top, a little bit on the sides, and then the bottom. But most of it is on this lip and not going all the way through the shoe. To each their own. There's a bit of a knot sticking out there, a little bit of thread left over, but I'm just going to leave it be. It doesn't bother me that much. Here's the next step. Again, I've already pre-trimmed a little bit. You can see in here, there's the shank. I cut just a little bit, but not all of it. And the reason why you're like, oh, is it to make it easier to point? No, it's because by doing it there, I'm training the shoe to break a little higher. For some reason, if I leave all the shank in, it breaks lower, and then I'm like crunching into my shoe more. I want to create just a little bit of a shelf. It's a thing. Every single dancer, every single foot is different. Sometimes from one foot to the other is different. All of it is a process and trial and error. It's really interesting. But in this case, I'm now going to put the shoe on my left foot. I'll put my little footy in, and then I'm going to bring this elastic around and measure where it comfortably kind of goes, and I'll take a pen, hello pen, and I'll make a little mark, and you don't want to cut it right where you're going to sew it. You want to leave, at least a centimeter extra or two, right? So you have that seam allowance, as they call it, but it's not seam allowance in this case. It's different. First things first, I want to lose my needle. I'm going to rethread it right away. Again, I like to pull it out to here. You got in a fight with your fridge, and it pulled at my toenail. Oh, gross! I hate losing toenails. So gross, so gross. Yep, nope, don't like it. No fun. No fun at all. Yes, there we go. Boom. I double my thread. Some people don't. It's up to you. To each their own. I think I should have done more. Damn it! Damn it, Janet. Get off my finger. This is so great, you guys. Thank you for being here. Boop. Get off of there. Yes. Okay. Again, when you're sewing, there's lots of pointy things. You always want to keep them where you can see them. You do not want to be stepping on a needle in your floor, in your carpet, or whatever. It sucks. So I like to let it, I just put it right back into, right through that little hole, and it just sits there and waits until I'm ready to use it. So let's get the shoe on, folks. Do it gentle. You can use a little water sometimes if you need to loosen up the box of your shoe, right? This is the box. That's right. Vamp. I don't want to make it too loose, though, because, again, my feet break my shoes down really fast. Even when I was in full swing as a dancer, it's always been that way for me. Okay, little feet. Here we go. Let's get you on. Hopefully it goes on. And remember, I have not really been dancing hardly at all in 3 years. Yep, so when I take a break, I take a break. Let's see if... How are we doing? Oh boy, yeah. This left foot is bigger. How are you even gonna... What? Let's see. Guys, my feet may have changed. Let's see. Come on in. No, it's fine. It's like... Gonna work? Yeah, they're just... My feet are... Everything's just out of shape. That's all it is, you know? And when I say that, I mean dance shape, okay? I'm very grateful for my body. I've learned to hate it a lot less, to like it, to be grateful for what I have. So here we go. Now we've got the shoe on. Here's our elastic, okay? I'm going to pull it over. Now, again, think about this, okay? You don't want it so tight that it's uncomfortable when you stand, right? One good thing to do, yep, let's stand in it. Yep, that's okay. A little less. You just don't want it too loose so that when you go up on point, then you've got excess elastic, you know? You need it needs to be just tight enough. There we go. That looks like a good spot. Yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, so I'm going to mark it. Mark it. That's the part. Okay. There we go. Now I'll show you. Here's what I did. So there's my little tiny blue mark right there. That's where it's going to actually meet that blue mark. Oh, right there. I know, it's so annoying. We're trying to get it. It's going to meet right there. I'm so good at this. There's the blue mark. See right there? Tuck it in just below. And then how much extra elastic is down there if I do that? Not a lot. You know what, guys? I might leave it be. I think I'm going to leave it be. I'm going to take a chance. Normally I might trim it just a little bit more, but nope, in this case I'm going to just leave it alone. Sometimes just the very ends of the elastic, you don't have that little bit of extra, it can almost aggravate your skin more. You never know. It's tough to tell. Got my needle. Here we go. Getting right into it. Boom, boom, boom. How are we on time? 3:12. See, we're already past the hour. Get going. All right. How my comments at? What's up? Bridget says, oh, the three of us. Okay, I get it, Bridget. Nice. Very nice. Pedro, you look so young. Aw, how much time have you practiced? First of all, I don't know if young is a compliment. I know it's supposed to be in America, but I'm at that point where, like, even when I was 14, I'm like, why is being young a compliment? It just, nobody wants to die. I get it, but, like, I don't know. I always liked hanging out with older people and thought they were far more interesting. But how long did I practice? Well, I mean, I trained seriously before I went pro 9-10 years. Full time. and then I went pro. So a lot. And then when you're pro, you keep on practicing. You keep training. It never stops. It never, ever stops. And the thing for me is, even after I've quit, and I think there was another dancer who talked about this. And now her name, of course, this happens if I'm in the middle of something and I say, oh, what's their name? And then it goes out of my head. But a famous ballerina quit, and a true ballerina, because a ballerina actually is the prima ballerina assoluta. That means they are the principal dancer. I know we all use the word ballerina very loosely, especially in America. Like, my channel is Ballerina Badass. But was I ever a principal in a nationally recognized ballet company? No. So ballerina means a lot more than just what we assume it does. Anyways, this famous professional ballerina retired. And then she said, she was like, I had to come back. And not even the performing part, but she realized she couldn't not give herself class almost every day because her body needed it. You know, and it's true, and I feel the same way. I can feel some creaks and things that are sinking that I just know, besides the Pilates, besides a mixture of all the other techniques, as I talked about earlier. Just doing ballet all the time, for me, doesn't work. But I also can't just get on a bike and ride every day, and that solves everything. It has to be a mixture of daily stretching, daily strength training, different things, and you switch back and forth. You give yourself a couple of days off also. You keep that balance, but I don't think I'll ever not do some form of dance and ballet, and at least training, if not performing. As far as performing goes, I really want to get more into like the Carol Burnett kind of stuff, musical theater, the ballroom, the vaudeville, like all of that fun stuff, you know. That's the direction I am leaning towards. I don't know if I'll ever do a Nutcracker again. It would take a lot of training for me to get back in shape to do that, and good Lord, I don't even know. I just don't even know, you guys. Hold on. Notes. It's not to me. They have the story, LOL. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what that means, but that's also because I lost track because I'm trying to think about sewing at the same time. And sewing and thinking sometimes. I don't know, guys. Woo! Get off of my hand. Woo! I'm so happy. They had a bake-off contest for one of the writers' strike picket lines, and I entered. It was so fun. I made my no-bake key lime pie in honor of the fact that one of the things we need to stop and get rid of in the writing industry are bake-offs. It's basically these unpaid contests. Unpaid, and when I say contest, you don't win anything other than maybe one of you gets to be the writer on a project, but they're essentially making you work unpaid for them, these movie studios and TV studios. So it's shitty. It's really shitty. You gotta get rid of them. But what I wanted to share with you guys was my no-bake key lime pie with chocolate cookie crumb crust. You know, you find a recipe online and then you zhuzh it to the way that you like it. And I find baking and cooking very satisfying, very fulfilling. And this one's good. And this is the first time I went ahead and added the whipped cream, because I didn't used to do that. I thought, I'm going to try it this time, and it's delicious. So it's just, it's lime juice, it's sweetened condensed milk, it's whipped cream that you've taken heavy cream and you've whipped it into whipped cream, and then you put it in, and it's, cream cheese. And you put them all together. It's incredible. And then the cookie crumb crust, I mean, you can buy them pre-made, it's fine. You can also make your own. There's different ways to do it. Look it up. Go find your own. It's fantastic. It's a fast recipe. It's great for the summer. I highly recommend. And the chocolate cookie crumb crust was just, I liked it. I liked it better than the graham cracker crust. It just gave it a little bit of a, and I always add a little bit of espresso powder in with any kind of chocolate baked good that I'm making. Just a touch, like, a quarter teaspoon to half teaspoon. It brings out the chocolate flavor. It actually deepens the chocolate flavor. So it's not gonna taste like you're eating coffee. It's gonna taste like you're eating a really rich chocolate. I love that. And then we saw a TikTok video. This girl made a bread with just like 5 ingredients, and it was the easiest thing on the planet. We tried it out. It was amazing. Loved it. Thank you, TikTok. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by all of the stuff that's out there, but then other times I love it. There's just so many places to go to find quality content. and interesting things, and you learn new things, and etc., etc. All right, how are we doing? Which is your okay? Pedro is asking, which is your favorite technique in ballet, and you train day by day? So right now, I don't train day by day. Right now, I'm trying to get up to 2 ballet classes for myself at home in my garage. 2 a week. That's the next, and then I need to get to 3. I will admit, my body, like the last time I gave myself class, it was great, and then my body was like, oh my god, we're tired again, because like I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, my nerve endings are shot. They are. It's a psychological thing. It's a physical thing. They're just tired. And I remember a teacher telling me that one time. They were like, "Oh, this dancer's retiring," and she was really young. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how can she already be retiring?" And she's like, "Well, she's been dancing professionally for a long time. She's tired." And I remember thinking, that won't be me. No, I get it now. I do. So some people believe it should be every single day. Some people believe no, you should take a certain amount of time off. Everyone's different. Eventually, I would like to get to where, at the very minimum, I'm doing 3 classes a week. And I would like to be back doing classes in a real classroom with other dancers and a teacher. There's just, for me, I don't know, being in front of other people, it's kind of like Schrodinger's cat. You know, if the cat's in the box, the cat could be alive or dead. You don't know because you haven't opened the box yet. For me, opening the box is actually being in the class, being in front of other dancers, being in front of a teacher. There's just a different kind of energy to it that I really like. And I like the camaraderie if they're nice dancers, which, you know, you can find those classrooms. It's possible. They're out there. Everyone has to find their tribe, their people, whatever. Every class is different. And then what's the next one? Which is your job apart? So professional ballet is no longer my job. I know that, look, social media is becoming kind of one of my jobs. And when I say job, I mean, like, yeah, I love doing this a lot. And I'm creating a lot of new content for my other channels, for comedy and all of that, and then for this channel. So during the pandemic, because I wasn't creating anything, my ballet channel got demonetized. So it'll be a while, I think, before they monetize it again. And they're constantly changing the bar of what qualifies you to be monetized. I'm not concerned about it. It'll happen when it happens. It's fine. But apart from that, I am an actress. I do voiceover. I do all kinds of stuff. So right now with SAG-AFTRA on strike, it means I am working a whole lot less. There are certain things we can still do as long as you're not working for one of the struck companies, which means as long as I don't take on any work, or new work especially, but work from Netflix, Hulu, Disney, any of the companies that are a part of the AMPTP who are refusing to negotiate a fair deal with SAG-AFTRA, my union, you can do other things, right? There is certain commercial work you can do, but you have to be careful. You need to check in. Anybody who's considering doing work right now, check in with the union. If you have any questions, don't do it. Go and call the union, email the union. It's going to be tough. There's a lot of people in line asking questions, but you do not want to scab. And if you do, you will either be kicked out of the union or you will never be able to gain membership. And beyond that, it's just bad juju. It's bad karma. Okay, I'm sorry. For me, like, I've worked so many jobs in my life. When I was dancing professionally with a professional ballet dance company, Ballet Hispanico is not ballet, but a professional, world-renowned company, Ballet Hispanico in New York, several of us in that company were working second jobs because they were not paying us enough, okay, to make enough living to survive in New York City. So picture rehearsing 7-8 hours a day and then going and putting on a cocktail waitress uniform and getting your ass grabbed all night as you're trying to make extra money to make ends meet. That's what Ballet Hispanico was for me back in the day, besides all the other bullshit in the politics. I'm not saying that they're like that now. It might be a lovely company. It is under new leadership. I want to thank one of my childhood friends who I danced with. I think Rodney Hamilton is now part of it now, which would be crazy. If Rodney Hamilton, if you are part of it now, that's awesome. I really hope that it's not toxic like it used to be. And you can say, well, Georgia, part of that toxicity might have been you. Yeah, you're right. There might have. What would my hand have been in it? Not speaking up, not advocating for myself enough, letting them bully me, letting them starve me, letting them tell me not to eat. Boy, I still get really hot and mad about that. I like meditate to work and let go of that anger because what's under the anger is sadness. Because I really wanted to be a part of a company that the abuse and the mistreatment and the politics, you're like, wait, do you really want to be a part of this? And you're like, so then what do you really want to do? You want to dance? And there are some people who I think thrive in that company atmosphere. And I think that's great for them. As long as they're being treated fairly and paid fairly, great. But if not, good God. Anyways, okay, we ramble. Guess what? We finished both sides of the elastic. Let's show you the other side. Wait, don't put the needle in your mouth. That's not safe. Put it right there. Here's what it looks like on the outside. Okay, that's what it looks like on the outside. Get it a little closer. Now, let's turn it inside out so you can see the other side. Here we go. So, this was the side that I did first, and then this is the side I did second. Remember, I left that little bit of extra on there. I went ahead and just sewed it down. I don't know if I'm going to regret that or not. If this rubs against my skin on my ankle too much, I may pull that out and then just leave just the stitching across the top. Sometimes you can do that. As long as it's tied in there strong enough, this can just flap in the breeze. And it's the stitching that can sometimes rub against your foot and exacerbate and create blisters. So it just depends. We shall see. But in the meantime, let's jump on the ribbons. So remember, I've got 2 ribbons because I've cut them, but they're not fully cut to size yet. They're still a little bit long, okay? I'm going to wait till the end. Let's get our thread back on. Some more thread on the needle. Someone says, I can imagine that professional ballet is so hard. Yeah, it is. You know what? As I've gotten to do so many different things, I feel really lucky. I've gotten to pursue a lot of things that I love to do. And I've also done a lot. I have worked a lot of jobs I don't like. Side jobs, day jobs, desk jobs, restaurant jobs, all kinds of things. But everything's got its own version of hard. You know, I follow one of the TikTok channels I follow focuses on Mexican workers and what they deal with. And one of the things that I love that they were talking about was people love to call like all the people who are working in the fields and picking the strawberries and all the produce and things, the jobs that no Americans want to take. Only the Mexicans do it because it's unskilled labor, they say. That's not true. And they talk about, and they're like, look at the skill these workers have, and it shows them. And it's like when you pick a strawberry, it's not just yank. If you yank it wrong, if you can bruise the berry, you can rip the berry. It's got to also, because Americans love to have pretty perfect berries. We don't take, there's a whole industry that gathers all of the quote unquote ugly fruit that's misshapen but perfectly healthy and edible, and they resell it because the major restaurants and major grocery stores don't sell them because, you know, Americans don't want to buy them. And it's like, dude, I don't care what it looks like. If it tastes good, I'm down. But this is skilled labor. Every industry has its own kind of hard, you know? Different, but as far as physical, yeah, ballet, it is physically demanding for sure, its own way. The thing that I sometimes deal with is that I feel like it can be such an elitist sport, and that bothers me. Like, it's one of the things that I still just hesitate. I'm like, oh, it can be beautiful, but sometimes it just feels like, some days I feel like, why are we carrying this on? That's just some days, not every day, just some days. And it could be bitterness, but it could also be that feeling of like, this comes from, I don't know, I'm doing a lot of research. I'm going to be making videos about it, so I say, or then I think better of it and decide not to because I don't want to just come across as a bitter, angry person, but you're trying to find that balance between bitter, angry person and person speaking truth to power. I mean, you know, Adam Conover is speaking out about what's going on with the WGA. It's such a balance. It's such a struggle. That's what it is sometimes for me. And maybe I'm overthinking it. Okay, ribbons, people, ribbons. So with my ribbons, I like to take an end and I tuck this in, again, because where I've melted the ribbon just a little bit with that lighter to try and stop it from fraying, but that, again, it can rub a little bit. If I fold it, it also makes it just a little bit stronger when I sew it into the shoe. So let me sew it into the shoe, and then I'll show you what I did in the shoe. Put it right. Okay, here we go. And away we go. My little sis said, who that, point to my titty. Haha. Yeah, no, I'm not showing my bunions. Sorry, Pedro. Sorry, guys. I had to like listen to read his entire thing, but no, I'm not gonna do that. But she is brave. Your grandmother is brave for wanting to do surgery. I think that's great. And if it's bothering, if she thinks it's the right thing to do, again, it's her body, it's her choice. My mom didn't believe in going to doctors. She didn't want to go to doctors, and so but that was her choice, and we, it was tough. That was a really tough thing to deal with because you don't want to watch your parents suffer. But she hid it from us for a long time, so we weren't really fully aware to the extent at which she was suffering. But she got cancer, and that was really rough. Anyways, you're trying to honor your parents, your grandparents, and their wants and needs, but then also looking at it from your side, and especially as people get older, suddenly you become the caretaker. It's such a crazy thing. We start out as babies, we end as babies, really. I think it's pretty crazy. Alright, we are sewing like crazy. Alright, what else is everybody up to today? Bridge, you get it. Yep. It's Sunday, you guys. You guys have anything fun planned? I know for me, I will be working the rest of this day. A project that I need to finish and get out the door, and then I have some screenwriting to do. And then I have, I won't get fully to it today. I'll just do a little bit of scribbling. I've got a stand-up set, a gig next Saturday night at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank. If any of you are in the Burbank area, I'd love to see you there. It'll be Saturday, July 22nd at 9 p.m. in the Yoo-Hoo Room. It's going to be a lot of fun. One of my very good friends from college is in town, and she might come. We'll see. It depends, because I know life in LA. There's a million things to do, and there's a million ways to get pulled away from doing something, or you have to cancel last minute. And people say, oh, it's the LA flake. Yeah, but also it's the LA, you're worn out, and the traffic and life and responsibilities. So, I try to give people a pass on a lot of that. You might be going, oh, you just give them a pass because you're doing it too. Well, sometimes I have to. Oh, yes. One of my positive affirmations. I give myself positive affirmations every day, throughout the day. So my alarm goes off to remind me. Every day, in every way, my life gets better and better. It's true. That's really helped me because my habit has been for so many years growing up to be really hard on myself and to be a perfectionist. And now I'm like, yeah, no, we're not doing that anymore. It's so much. I'm not saying you're being pompous or egotistical or anything like that. It's just loving yourself and appreciating that there are good things about you, and it's important. If you never, ever give yourself a pat on the back, like never, that's not healthy. I love Bridge. I've had days like that, Bridge. I have had days where I've been in the bed. Sometimes you just need that. You need to recharge, dude. It's all good. I get it. If you stay in there for too long, gets into a couple of days, for me, I start going, okay, what's going on? Am I feeling anxious? Have I halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired? What's going on? But right now, nah. I fully support your bed day. I think that's great. Anybody seen any good shows that they're really into lately? I mean, I know despite the strike and some people are saying, oh, boycott all the streamers or unsubscribe and all that stuff. There's that side, but then the other side of the coin is continue to support the shows that you love and watch the shows of writers whose work you admire and actors. I don't know. So there's that side of it too. Excuse me. Coffee's getting to me. Okay, quick. Here's the ribbon update. Here's the inside. Okay, so you can see what I did. Right? Again, I stitch all the way around. You can see where I folded it under. And then on the outside, that's what it looks like. Okay? And I can really pull on that pretty dang hard. Only at the only after wearing this for a while do I finally, sometimes if I pull too hard And when you sweat, believe it or not, your ribbons do. They start to kind of stretch. Well, I think they do. Even though these are not the stretchy ribbons. These are, that's satin. But maybe I'll get some holes where I've sewn them, but not too bad. Okay, second ribbon. Staying on it, staying on it. Stay focused, stay focused. Judith Glasser. Oh my God, hi. Hello, nice to see you again. Haven't seen you in a while. Hi, Judith. Oh my gosh. Haven't seen you in a while either. How you doing, huh? How you doing? It's what does Prince say? They say, oh, it's good to see you. I say, oh, it's good to be seen. You know what I mean? If anybody's a Prince fan, you've got to listen to his song. I think it's called Silver Screen. It is a great song. It's like a monologue. It's like a monologue jam, and it's fabulous. It's like, oh, it's called Movie Star, I think. Tonight, hey, I'm a movie star. I see myself up on the silver screen. Tonight, I'm the only star on the scene. You know what I mean? Okay, I haven't listened to it in a while. Obviously, I have forgotten some of it, but it is funny as heck. Talking about going out and getting ready to go out to meet somebody, and then he brings home a date, and the date falls asleep. It's so good. Okay, I love it. Prince was such a dork. Okay, let's get this last ribbon stitched, and then, you guys, we will have a fully sewn pair of shoes. Da-da-da, garbage truck Jerry. It's a new franchise until he runs out of gas. Probably not, I don't know if any of you know what that's from, but I do. And it makes me laugh. Okay. Judith, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad all of you are here. I really appreciate your support. Ooh, okay. As I was stitching, let me stop and tell you something. So, I don't know if you can tell, but running through this top section of fabric here is the drawstring, and it is a elastic drawstring. If I'm not careful when I'm sewing, I could actually sew through the drawstring, and then I won't be able to have full access to the whole string to tighten or release it. So you really, in my opinion, I try to avoid it as much as possible. Also, just above the elastic or just below it, and you'll kind of feel a different pressure in your needle if you've hit it. So be mindful of that. You can avoid it. It just gives you a lot more control over your shoe and your comfort. You know, your pointe shoes, it's like with acting, every day you do a scene in acting, like what works for theater where you're doing the same show over and over again, right? One night you say a line like, you know, I never knew he would do that to me. And, you know, your personal thing behind it is you're thinking about, I don't know, something that happened with your mom. And that's the thing that's the underlying, you know, your secret thing that you're thinking as you say the line. The line is talking about something else completely. But you, the actor, you're thinking about your mom in that moment. And it works. It really works because the audience is responding. The director likes it. It works. But then the next night, you do the same thing again, and they call that a tool. It's a tool you're using to try and, again, get into character. The next night, it doesn't work anymore. Maybe something's changed between you and your mom. You had an argument that night, or you're just feeling different. And so you've got to come up with another tool that's going to get you to that same emotional place, or the same, or at least deliver the line in the way that it needs to be delivered to tell the story. So that's what it is with pointe shoes, I think, is... well, tonight, this shoe is really working, but then the next night, something shifts ever so slightly. Your physical makeup shifts, the way the shoe is breaking down shifts, the air. There's so many things. Every single night, something is different, and you have to react to those minute changes accordingly, and especially with ballet. Talk about minute changes. I think that's why we can become so hyper-obsessed with weight, and why, like for me, why I deal with body dysmorphia. I mean, I was so obsessed. I feel like I can tell when I've gained even a pound or lost a pound. I feel when I'm a little bit more bloated. I think everyone can do that. But some people are more focused on it than others, maybe. And let me tell you, it continues to be a journey for me to be patient with myself, to be compassionate with myself, to love my body. Because there's a pair of jeans that I'm like, I really want to wear those again. And I haven't tried them on in a few weeks because one day they'll just fit and then the next day they won't. And the next day they'll just, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to relax. I'm going to set them aside. I don't know. I think I can wear them again. They're not super, super skinny, but when I'm dancing, my body is shaped differently and that. And then I don't know. I mean, maybe my entire genetic makeup is changing. Maybe my butt's just getting rounder, which ain't a bad thing, actually. I'm really happy. I've got a butt and got some boobs now. It's kind of cool. It's fun. But we'll see. How did I get on this topic? I don't know. Whatever. What else have we got here? More comments. I had to take a break because I'm so stressed because I go back to school August 4th. And I have to get all that again and new basketball stuff. Oh my God, it was too much. And my mom told me to take a break. You have a smart mom. Listen to that, mama. Okay? Because yes, if you're getting overstressed, now it's so great. More and more people are speaking out, even at higher levels. Like Olympic athletes are saying, hey, I got to take a break for my own personal sanity. And I was going, what? And they're talking about it. I'm reading a really excellent book right now. I highly recommend. It's all about the Hollywood industry and what's been happening. And what I like about it is not only does it reveal so many problems in the Hollywood industry, but then the second half of the book is about coming up with solutions to try and fix it. And they're not easy solutions. It's all complicated. But it's really well written. This writer has been writing for Variety and New York Times and all kinds of stuff. I mean, they've been interviewing and doing this journalistic work for years. In my mind, they are an expert. It's called Burn It Down, and it's by, one moment, Maureen Ryan. I forget the name because they go by Mo Ryan on Twitter, but Maureen Ryan, that's Maureen Ryan, Burn It Down. Highly recommend this book. So good. Just so good. And talking about how, again, we should be taking a little more time off, trying to do a 13, 14-hour work day. That's just not healthy. And then that means you're not as awake the next day. That's how injuries happen on set. That's how problems happen. We need the self-care. It's okay. That mindset of, don't take a break. No, even if you have the flu, keep working. Even if you've broken your leg, especially in dance. How many times I danced on an injury? It was not good for my body, but I was so proud of myself because I just pushed through. And it's like, no, because you will pay the price. You will pay the price. You may not feel it when you're, in your teens, but you will feel it later. And it is no fun. No fun at all. That doesn't mean it gives people a free pass to just sit on their butts and go, oh, I'm just not feeling it today. There's a balance. But self-care, we need more of that, I think. Bridget says, I am still flat and I have a little butt. Good for you. If you're happy, I'm happy. That's all that matters. Pedro says, in ballet, is it important the size of the person? Hey, Pedro, I recommend go Google ballet and weight issues, ballet and dysmorphia, ballet and anorexia. You will get a whole host of articles. This has been an issue in ballet for years. When ballet first began, ladies were regularly shaped. It was a different thing. Now, I don't know if it's peaked. I want to think it's starting to shift back in a healthier direction. But when I say healthier, that means healthier for ballet terms. But it's still unhealthy for regular, normal life terms, okay? Everyone in the ballet world is way skinnier than regular people. It's insane. And the problem is, this is where that side where it's like ballet is a lot like a sport. You train like it's a sport. You train like an athlete. It's still an art form. But when you have to do now, and even now more than in the old days, it's less of, to me, it's how many tricks can you do? You do more turns. You jump even more high. You push even further. You get much more hyperextension. The more you're pushing your body, the more you need nutrients, self-care, muscles, things to protect your body. And they still expect dancers to be skinny as a stick. I'm at least 15 to 20 pounds, I think, heavier than I was when I was dancing full time. Dude, and I know I'm not fat. I know that. But I tell you, I sit here and I look at myself on camera and I'm like, oh my God, but I know intellectually, I know enough to know, yeah, there's a lot of issues in ballet. Now, there's a wonderful documentary that was named, but I've got to show it to you guys. It was called Big Ballet, and it was specifically plus-size dancers. performing ballet. And you can find a couple of plus size dancers doing ballet on TikTok, and you can see there's tons of people hating on them, but they don't care. They're doing it, and they're beautiful, but it's not the norm. And anything that goes in the face of what you're used to is always a challenge at first, because it's not what you're used to. So, you know, I even catch myself where if I see a really skinny dancer, I'm like, oh, wow, look at, I can, you know, and I go, wait a minute, is this healthy? And so I'm trying to shift my own perspective on it. It's a challenge, but I think ballet could and should be for everyone. The elitists, they don't want that. They're like, no, I'm more interested in you having a respect and a passion for the craft. If you just come in and go, oh, ballet's easy, I'm just going to throw on some pointe shoes like those models doing ballet poses, I'm like, fuck them. Okay, I said the F word, I did. Fuck them. But if you're someone, whatever size you are, and you're like, no, I really want to learn this craft, I'm interested in the history of ballet, in the, what is the story behind it, you know, building your gamin, what's the technique, I don't care what size you are. That's fantastic, because I think you care about the art form. Does that make sense? What do they say? If you want to teach someone to fish, you don't teach them how to fish. You teach them a love for the ocean. I said that really poorly. If you want to help someone become a fisherman, you don't teach them to fish. You teach them a love for the sea. Something like that. But then you go, wait a minute. If you love the sea, would you be killing fish? I don't know. Don't you like how you're like, wait a minute, Georgia, stick to the point. Guess what? We're moving on. Ribbons. The ribbons are done. Now, right now, you'll notice the ribbons are the same length. Right? Pretty much, yes. They're pretty much the same length. We're going to now cut them to size. So, putting the shoe back on the foot. Here we go. A little more coffee. Okay. Oh, I'm so grateful for everybody who showed up today to watch. It means so much. Love it. Hey, for anyone who's still in here, if you have any video requests or questions or concerns, please be sure to either put them in the comment box. If you want to make it private, you can send me an email, georgiareed@gmail.com. Please don't spam me, okay? georgiareed@gmail.com. I'll just, block you if you do that. And if you say, please keep this request private, but here's what I'd like to see. Do not ask me for bunion videos. I'm not doing them. But anything around dance and ballet and critiques and things like that, I'm interested in knowing what it is that you guys are looking for in terms of content. All right, we're getting the shoe on again. Yeah, I think my feet have also, honestly, they've spread a bit, because when you're in pointe shoes and stuff all the time, they're going to change size. I've been barefoot and walking around my house for a long time. Oh, the elastic feels way better, though. I may re-sew the elastic on my right shoe. But we'll get both shoes on, actually. After I finish trimming the left one. Okay, I'm seeing there's a little bit of a problem with the, what is it? Are we okay? Interesting. The elastic is just a touch loose. I don't know if you can tell. When I point my foot, it's a touch loose. I'm going to leave it for now, though, because I'm working the shoe. Sometimes you have to, wear the shoes in class and rehearsal a little bit to figure out where it needs to go. Sometimes what I recommend, you put the shoes on at home and kind of walk around in them. Do a couple chores or something and walk around in the shoes and just sort of feel it out and go, okay, do I like where the elastic is at? Do I like where the shoe is at? If you have at least a chair that you can work with at home, do a few releves and go, okay, how is it feeling? How is it feeling all over? That way you're not trying to deal with it in class. Okay, ribbons. Here we go. Left foot. Okay, right? Here we go. Criss, cross, applesauce. We don't go up the shoe, people. We stay down here, we know. Again, I like to do a little bit of a flex right about here, and then that way it's not going to have too much pressure on my ankle. Remember, for me, I like to tie my ribbons on the inside. Again, because if you're backstage in a performance and you need to change shoes really quick, when you sit down, you got this tutu all up. You can push the tutu kind of out of the way. But right here, I can see the knot in the darkness enough to get it undone. If you tie the knot in the back, A, it's going to put more pressure on your Achilles heel and your tendons. And B, it's harder to see in the dark. Then you're trying to feel for it. Pain in the ass. So, tying it here on the side once, like that. I put my finger to kind of hold it. Notice here again, the one ribbon's longer than the other. I want to make these the same length for ease of tucking. So now I've tied the knot. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to trim that second ribbon to match the first. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. I'm going to get so now they are the same length. I'm going to now take my lighter and just quick melt that edge just a little bit, not too much, right? You don't want, wait for it to cool. Okay, and now we take it, we fold them, and we tuck them. Some people only tuck from the top, some people only tuck from the bottom, to each their own. You can put a little tape, a little toe tape in there to kind of keep the ribbons stuck if you're worried about them slipping out. That's always worked for me. So now the ribbons are tucked in. All right, back up. There's the shoe. Again, I haven't stood on these yet, so we will see. I've got one shoe on. Oh, it's already starting to feel better. Hooray! A little tight. I know, babies. My feet are like, what are we doing? No! Really? Oh my gosh, it's so hot, you guys. Let's get the hair up. Check the comments quick. Bridge says, yeah, one time at practice, before a game, when I used to dunk the ball, I fall landed on my ankle, and my mom and coach said I could not play that night, and I beat myself up for it and cried because I was so mad at myself. My heart goes out to you, Bridge. The number of times I have beat myself up and hated myself and been hard on myself and mean to myself for something that was completely out of my control. At the time, I thought it was really, what's the word? Not romantic. Like, I almost felt like cool for beating myself up and being hard on myself. And I got to tell you something. That's abuse. That is, to me, that is self-abuse. You are hurting yourself. When you say mean things about yourself, when you call yourself an idiot, when you beat yourself up. I've even I used to slap myself in the face when I was a little girl, or I would slap my leg for being too fat, or all this nonsense. That's self-abuse, and that hurts. That is doing psychological damage to your body. Okay, is it gonna stay? It's not gonna stay. It's so much better to be kind to your body, and believe it or not, your body will respond so much better if you look yourself in the mirror. It's gonna feel really dorky, but I highly recommend it. You look yourself in the mirror and you say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Michelle Yeoh, the famous actress, does this every day apparently in bed. She apologizes to her body for all the things she's going to have to put it through when she's on set doing stunt work. And she thanks her body. So you say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I've been so hard on you. I'm sorry for all of the tough things we're going to have to go through today together. And then you say, thank you so much for being my body. Thank you so much for all the opportunities that I've had because of you. Thank you so much for all. There's so many things to be grateful for. And then you say, I forgive you. I forgive you, body, for breaking down on me. I forgive you for not being the thing that I sometimes want you to be. And then you say, I love you. I love you. I love you. So, I'm sorry. I forgive you. Thank you. And I love you. Those 4, in any order you want. But I try to do that every day or every other day. Or when I first get up in the morning, I'm brushing my teeth, I'll just whisper them to myself. It has made a world of difference. I'm just telling you. Try it out. Yes, it sometimes feels silly. Try it out anyway. I'm just saying. Okay, I need to get a second toe cap. Which toe cap? I'm going to put the smaller one on just because I don't have a lot of, again, because my feet are a little bit swollen right now. Use this mini cap on my right foot. I may regret this. We'll see. But again, this is just a toe cap that I cut down to size, so it's just barely covering the foot. There we go. Just sort of something in there. And again, I also do like to pre-tape my toes. I pre-tape them to avoid blisters instead of waiting until I've had a blister to tape them, right? So it's preventative work. Preventative taping. Get on the foot. I know. This is also, again, I'm going to repeat, this would be a lot easier if I had on ballet tights. I don't have any tights on right now. So it is what it is. Bing, 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 bing. All right, we're taping, we're tying. What else we got here? Yeah, Bridge, I'm a people pleaser too. I'm a recovering people pleaser. If you're on TikTok and stuff, go look up some people pleaser recovery videos. They're great. Because actually we think that it's a good thing, but the more you learn about it, the more you realize it's kind of the opposite. Go watch the videos for yourself. Go do your own research. You know, it's not for me to tell you. Again, because stones in glass houses, people. Ooh, yeah. My right foot really does not want to do this today, but we're going to do it anyway. Here we go. Okay. So, I am using a chair because I am way out of shape, and I do not want to just be dancing on my pointe shoes in this back room. That is a recipe for injury. So we got shoe 1, Shoe 2, it needs a little breaking in, but it only for me needs breaking in kind of right in here. It's still a little bit hard, so I can't roll through quite as much. But this is already pretty much where it needs to be. The shank is done. Okay, so it's not done like over, it's just it's set. Just gonna get up on them. How are we doing here? Oh my gosh, my line is all gone. But there we go. I'm over the shoe, right? If you're not over your shoe, if you're back here, no, not bueno. You gotta be up over the shoe. You also don't wanna be way over here, but you wanna have that be right up on those platforms, those toe tips, right up on top. There you go, right? Oh wow, yeah. You must be very, very careful because the muscles are gone. All of this is just out of commission. This should all be engaging right in here, these rotators, these muscles in here, and then these here. This is your abductors and adductors, and I don't remember which is which. I admit it. I didn't pay attention. I just was like, you want to be able to hold something right there between the legs and just, right, nice and tight, and then lifting up here, keeping that rib cage closed, gently closed, but you're not hunching. You're also not spreading it wide open. You've got your épaulement, your chest is open, shoulders down, head, neck lifted high. I know you can't see all of that, but ooh, you can see my ankles they're really weak. So, yep, let's see if I can, again, I prefer to have both hands, but I want to be able to see the shoes. Let's do a gentle roll through. Yeah, ooh, yeah, look at that. I know, you're like, wait, first position should be like this. Yes, my first position, it's like, oh, it should be looking just like this, but my rotators do not have the strength to hold this position right now, okay? So if you want to know where you should be in your first position, it's where you go to parallel, and then you don't cheat, you don't do a big doo-doo with your hips, you stay in place, just like this, and then you go, boom. That's my first position right now. Do I hate it? Yes. Do I feel embarrassed showing you this? Yes. But I'm showing it to you for your benefit, okay? I'm not even going to do any more. Well, can I do one releve? So let's see, one releve. There we go. So again, this right foot. Yep, all the same problems. There we go. And I have hyperextended legs to deal with, all kinds. Everybody has different challenges. But there you go. And coming back down, not great. I don't have quite the roll through ability. Also, again, because the shoes are new and because I am out of shape. I want to reiterate, out of shape does not mean fat. Out of shape means just muscles are not engaging the way they would be if I was working out the amount that I should, training the amount that I should to get them to work the way they need to work to do ballet. So there you go. But both shoes are sewn. You guys, this is so great. I'm so excited. Like this is progress for me. This is an important milestone. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you being here to talk while this is happening because, boy, sometimes just having that accountability partner, I talk about that a lot, I know, but it's true. It makes a difference. I will try and do a stretching kvetch next Saturday afternoon. Things are going to be really busy, but I will see if I can fit that in, especially for Miriam, who asked. Let's see. Bridget says, I keep getting run over, but going in the 7th and beginning 13 after a while, you get used to it. Oh my God, right? Let me tell you. I didn't enjoy being a teen when I was a teen. I think a lot of people feel that way. Maybe not everybody. But I wish you luck. And keep your friends close. Okay? If you don't have friends... I didn't have a ton of friends. I mean, I had some friends. I went through a time where I didn't. But my parents... I was really close to my parents when I was younger, and that helped a lot. It did. It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm like, do you have any good advice, Georgia? Keep breathing. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. When you want to hate yourself, and it's going to happen again, catch it, notice it, and then forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for that moment of self-hatred. Say something nice. My friend the other day, they were just joking. They were like, oh, I'm such an idiot. And I said, tell me 3 nice things about you. 3 things that you like about yourself right now. Right now. Just boom, immediately. Get in that habit. When you're hard on yourself, go, okay, like, I feel like an idiot right now. But you know what? I do. I love my archy feet. I love my hair. And I love my laugh. I have a really, not everyone else does, but I love it. I just love it. I love my laugh. So there you go. 3 things. That is it. You guys have been a really great audience. Really great. Thank you so much for being here. What else do I have to tell you? Be sure to check out my other channel, which it's under construction on YouTube, but I am on Instagram and TikTok as Georgiffy. Georjiffy. Georgiffy. I should have it in the description box below. I am starting Ballerina Badass back up on Instagram. That one is also slowly coming along. This is where I do really the main Ballerina Badass stuff. But there's all kinds of neat things coming and happening. I'm really excited to share that all with you guys. Be sure to drop off your questions and concerns and comments and all that good stuff. And Bridge, I'm glad you got a friend group. Yes, good. Find your tribe, right? We are a tribe, and that's what it's about, okay? And anytime you feel like you're alone, just know there's at least one other person in the world, somewhere in the world, who might be going through what you're going through. And with social media, it's a little bit easier to find people of like-mindedness, but nothing beats connecting in real life, you know? Put the phone down occasionally, go outside, touch a leaf. These are my suggestions. You've been watching Ballerina Badass. My name is Georgia Reed. Never give up. Never stop dancing. I love you all. Toy, toy, toy.